She studied his face on purpose. In the middle of the worst night of her life, she forced herself to memorize every detail of the man attacking her so that one day she could put him away. She identified him with total certainty. He spent 11 years in prison. And he was innocent. Her memory did not fail because she was careless. It failed because it did exactly what every human memory is built to do. Most people believe their mind is a recording device, that what they see is what happened, that what they remember is true, that what feels certain must be real. Every part of that is false. Your brain did not evolve to show you reality. It evolved to keep you alive, and those two goals are not the same thing. There are 5 mechanisms that make the human mind easy to deceive, and the people who understand them do not use them to find the truth. They use them on you. The 4th one can rewrite something you are certain you remember. Welcome to DarkPsyche. In the 1960s, neuroscientist Michael Gazzaniga studied patients whose brains had been surgically split in two, the connection between the left and right hemispheres severed, to treat severe epilepsy. This let him do something extraordinary. He could show information to one half of the brain that the other half could not see. In one experiment, he flashed the word walk to only the right hemisphere. The patient stood up and began to leave the room. Then Gazzaniga asked the left hemisphere, the part that controls speech, why he was walking away. The left brain had no idea. It never saw the command. But it did not say "I don't know." It said, "I'm going to get a drink." The brain invented a reason. Instantly. Seamlessly. And with complete confidence. Gazzaniga called this region the interpreter. Its job is to take your actions and your feelings and spin them into a story that makes sense, even when it has no access to the real cause. Sit with what this means. A part of your mind is generating explanations for your own behavior, and it cannot tell the difference between the real reason and a reason it made up. This is the first tool a manipulator relies on. They do not need to convince you of anything. They just need to get you to act. Your own interpreter will build the justification and convince you it was your idea. In 1977, researchers Lynn Hasher, David Goldstein, and Thomas Toppino gave participants a list of statements and asked them to rate how true each one was. Then, weeks later, they brought them back and did it again, with some of the same statements mixed in. The result was disturbing. The statements people had simply seen before were now rated as more true. Not because they were accurate. Only because they were familiar. This is the illusory truth effect. The brain uses a shortcut. If something feels easy to process, it assumes it is more likely to be true. And nothing feels easier than something you have heard 100 times. Here is the part that should frighten you. A 2015 study by Lisa Fazio and colleagues found that the illusory truth effect works even when people already know the correct answer. Repetition overrode knowledge. People who knew the truth still drifted toward the lie simply because they had heard the lie more often. This is why propaganda never argues. It repeats. Why advertising does not explain. It echoes. A manipulator does not need a better case than yours. They just need to say their version more times than you say yours. Because in your brain, truth is not a verdict. It is a feeling of familiarity, and familiarity can be manufactured. Stop and check yourself. Think of something you just know is true, something you have never actually verified yourself. Now ask where it came from. Did you confirm it? Or did you just hear it enough times? In 1974, psychologists Amos Tversky and Daniel Kahneman ran an experiment that seems impossible until you see it happen. They spun a wheel of fortune rigged to land on a random number, then asked participants a question that had nothing to do with the wheel. What percentage of African countries are members of the United Nations? The people who saw a high number on the wheel guessed high. The people who saw a low number guessed low. A completely random number, one they knew was meaningless, had silently contaminated their judgment. This is anchoring. The first number you hear becomes the gravity well that every later estimate falls toward. In 2003, researcher Dan Orley demonstrated this with something even stranger. He had people write down the last 2 digits of their social security number, then bid on items in an auction. The people with higher digits bid significantly more for the exact same products. A number from their own ID, utterly irrelevant, reshaped what they believed something was worth. This is why a skilled negotiator always wants to name the first number. Why the original price sits next to the sale price. The first frame poisons the well, and every judgment you make after is drinking from it without knowing. Everything so far affects what you think and what you decide. The next mechanism is worse. It can reach into your past and edit a memory you would swear on your life is accurate. It is the reason an innocent man spent 11 years behind bars. If this is making you question how much of what you know was ever really yours, that question is the whole point of this channel. DarkPsyche exists to show you the machinery running underneath your own mind. Subscribe now so the next one finds you. In 1974, psychologist Elizabeth Loftus showed people footage of a car accident. Then she asked them a question, but she changed a single word. Some were asked how fast the cars were going when they hit each other. Others, when they'd smashed into each other. That one word changed their memory. The smashed group remembered higher speeds. And a week later, they were more likely to remember seeing broken glass that was never in the footage at all. Loftus had not changed what they saw. She had changed what they remembered seeing. But she was not finished. In 1995, she ran a study that proved something far more unsettling. Working with families, researchers fed adult participants short stories from their childhood, 3 of them true, and 1 completely invented. A false memory of being lost in a shopping mall as a young child. About a quarter of the participants not only remembered it, they elaborated. They added details. The fear. The stranger who helped them. What their mother said. Memories of an event that never happened. Your memory is not a recording. It is a reconstruction, rebuilt from fragments every single time you recall it. And every time you rebuild it, it can be edited. Now return to the woman from the beginning of this video. Her name was Jennifer Thompson. The man she sent to prison was Ronald Cotton. When she was shown a lineup, she selected him. And from that moment, something happened that she never consented to. Her memory of her real attacker's face was slowly overwritten by Ronald Cotton's face. By the trial, her certainty was total. It was also wrong. DNA evidence eventually freed Cotton and identified the real man. Understand the weapon this creates. When someone repeatedly tells you an event happened differently than you remember, when they insist, calmly, that you are misremembering, they are not just lying to you. They are using the reconstructive nature of your own memory to rewrite it. That technique has a name. We call it gaslighting, and it works because your past was never as solid as you believed. Let this land. The certainty you feel when you remember something, that feeling is not evidence. Jennifer Thompson felt it completely. She was completely wrong. The strength of a memory tells you how strongly you believe it. It tells you nothing about whether it is true. There is a final mechanism, and it is the one that lets all the others reach you. The human brain treats confidence as a signal of accuracy. When someone speaks without hesitation, no qualifiers, no doubt, no I think, we instinctively rate them as more likely to be right. But decades of research on the relationship between confidence and accuracy reveal something brutal. The two are only weakly connected. People can be supremely confident and completely wrong, and we believe them anyway, because the confidence itself feels like proof. This is the master key. The interpreter invents a story and tells it with confidence. The repeated lie arrives wrapped in confidence. The anchor is dropped with confidence. The false memory is recalled with total confidence. Every manipulation in this video travels on the same vehicle, a person who is certain, calm, and unwavering. The most dangerous people are not the ones who lie to you. They are the ones who have convinced themselves, because a brain that believes its own lie broadcasts a confidence that no honest, uncertain person can match. Your brain is not broken. It is doing precisely what it was built to do: fill gaps, favor the familiar, anchor to the first thing it sees, rebuild the past, and trust confidence over uncertainty. None of these are flaws. They are shortcuts that kept your ancestors alive in a world that demanded fast decisions, not accurate ones. But the same shortcuts that protected them are the exact doors a manipulator walks through. You cannot delete these mechanisms. They are the architecture of being human. But you can do the one thing that almost no one does. You can know they are there and treat your own certainty not as proof, but as a question. We have shown you the vulnerabilities in the human mind. Next, we study the people who understand these vulnerabilities better than anyone alive, and have built entire empires of power on top of them. If you are not subscribed, you will not see how they think. The mind does not show you the world. It shows you a story about the world, and whoever learns to write that story controls everything you believe is real.